All right, everyone, we're going to let folks in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're just getting started with some of the tech pieces behind the scenes. So if you'll just bear with us for a couple minutes while we get it sorted out, and then we'll be excited to get on the way with the webinar for today. Thank you. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Danny, and I am the program manager with the Water Watchers, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today. Before we get started, I just want to give you a few notes about using Zoom. Para las personas que están aquí de México, mi colega Pablo va a repetir estas instrucciones en español. So live transcript is available, which provides subtitles of the speakers. You can access that by clicking live transcript at the bottom of your screen and turning on subtitles. The meeting is being recorded, so you'll be able to view it again later with translation in Spanish and English. We have a lot of people here with us today, so you have been muted, but we will still want to hear from you. So please feel free to use the chat box, which you can access by clicking chat at the bottom of your screen. And in the chat box, you can introduce yourself, say where you're joining from, and what you hope to learn today. You can also use the chat box to ask any questions you have throughout the presentation. Last but not least, this webinar includes both English and Spanish. This is the first time that we're co-hosting an event in multiple languages, so we had a little bit of tech behind the scenes to figure out for this, but we're really lucky to have some amazing translators with us today, Juan and Pablo, who are going to help us out. These are the instructions just for how to listen in your preferred language. As soon as we finish repeating these instructions in Spanish, I will turn on the interpretation and you can navigate to whichever channel is best for you. If you're an English speaker, you'll be able to just click the interpretation button and click English, and any thing that's said in Spanish will be translated for you by Pablo. For Spanish speakers, you can click interpretation and select Spanish, and the same will be translated from English to Spanish by Juan. And if you are both an English and Spanish speaker, you don't need to do anything. You can just listen in as normal. So thanks so much for being here, and please wait patiently while we repeat these instructions in Spanish. Over to you, Pablo.
Buenos días, buenos días a todas y todos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros, nosotras. Voy a repetir las instrucciones que dijo la compañera ahora en español para que puedan participar de mejor manera en este seminario. Muchas gracias. Bueno, entonces, primero que nada, abajo hay un link que dice transcripción. Ahí se van a poner los subtítulos por si quieren ver los subtítulos. Esos no son muy correctos en español, entonces esos, pues, para los que hablan un poquito de inglés, a lo mejor les puede servir para leerlo, pero va a haber una transcripción, va a haber una traducción directa que ahorita paso para eso. También la reunión se va a grabar, entonces la pueden ver después, traducida ya con subtítulos al español y al inglés, ¿no? La pueden ver en la página del Facebook en la que está siendo transmitido. También se ha puesto todos los chats, digamos, sus pantallas han de haber visto que están todas en silencio, y eso se debe, pues, para que puedan los ponentes poder presentar sin ser interrumpidos y demás. Pero está el chat a un lado, allá abajo le pueden picar también en la pantallita de chat para que puedan dar sus contribuciones y sus preguntas y demás en el lado del chat. Y también se les invita a presentarse para que puedan decir de dónde nos acompañan y aquello que quieran aprender el día de hoy o aquello que quieran compartir el día de hoy. Entonces utilicen el chat, ¿verdad? Para que puedan expresar sus distintas posturas y visiones. Entonces ahora viene el detallito importante. Muchas gracias por lo de... Ahí están viendo las diapositivas a un lado, ¿verdad? Ahora vamos a ir con la traducción. La traducción quizá sea con lo que estén menos familiarizadas. Esto todavía no está aprendido, se va a aprender ahorita. Ahorita van a ver un botón, ahorita no está un botón en su barra. Se va a aprender en un momento más, y entonces van a ver en su barra un botoncito que dice traducción. Y entonces va a salir una cajita arriba, así como la que está aquí en la diapositiva. Y entonces, si hablan español, le ponen va a decir Spanish o va a decir español, ¿no? Y entonces le pican en esa y les va a traducir Juan todo lo que van a estar comentando en inglés, que es la mayoría, ¿no? Y aquellos que hablan inglés, pues le pican a la de inglés, y si hablan un poco de los dos, pues lo pueden mantener en apagado, ¿verdad? Em, También les recordamos a todos los ponentes, a las ponentes, que por favor hablen un poco despacio para que podamos seguir y que su traducción sea lo más fidedigna posible, ¿verdad? Y bueno, sin más por el momento, vamos ahora con Mike Balquill y va a comenzar con su aportación. Bienvenidas.
Hi, I'm Mike Balquill, and I work with the Wellington Water Watchers based in Guelph, Ontario. And I'm just asking Danny, do we need to do anything here to be sure people are getting their channel the way they want to? I just want to be sure that's been organized before I keep talking.
Yes, the option to choose your channel for interpretation is now live. So please go ahead and just navigate over there as you can.
So it's at the bottom of your screen. It'll say interpretation, and you can select the language in which you wish to hear this program. And you'll hear the speakers speak in their own language and then hear translations as appropriate. Again, I'm Mike Balquill. I work with the Wellington Water Watchers. The Wellington Water Watchers has opposed water bottling in our community for more than a decade. And for more than a decade, that fight was against Nestle. And Nestle recently sold their North American operations to Blue Triton. We continue to oppose their water bottling. We continue to oppose it in solidarity with Six Nations and their claims. And later you'll be hearing from Makasha Looking Horse from Six Nations. You're probably familiar with the phrase, think globally, act locally. And over the past few years, we've been lucky and able to connect with people in other communities in other parts of the world who are fighting water bottling. And their fight is our fight, and our fight is their fight, because water is for life, not for profit. When Nestle sold their operations to Blue Triton, we connected with groups in North America in communities where Blue Triton now operates at water bottling. We call ourselves informally the Troubled Waters Coalition. And during that work, we met Samantha Demby, who's going to be the moderator for the program today. Sam will introduce herself and give background to herself, but I want to say that Sam, how we came to know Sam is she did the research into Blue Triton for the Troubled Waters Coalition. Sam is based in Mexico, as she will tell you, and she met people from Pueblos Unidos, and we started talking about that. And so we thought it would be appropriate to have this webinar today in solidarity with the people with Pueblos Unidos. And there will be an opportunity for you to make a donation to their work. We will be posting a link in the chat box. I'll be bringing it to your attention a couple more times over the course of the meeting. And when they tell their story, you can see what difference a donation to their campaign will make. We're very pleased to have a couple of other speakers. Don Neptune Adams from the Penobscot Nation in the state now called Maine, and Makasha Looking Horse from Six Nations. And I just want to say maybe one more thing. Part of the reason why the Water Watchers is doing this in Canada, there's a new federal statutory holiday called National Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is September 29th. And the first recognition of that holiday is this year. So the Water Watchers in September is amplifying several issues and several struggles, Indigenous peoples' access and right to clean drinking water and to have their land and water rights fulfilled under obligations, which sadly are not fulfilled in many instances. So we're very pleased that this webinar is part of that program of activities in September. Having said that, I'll see you at the end for some closing comments. I may participate a little bit in the middle with the discussion as well, but I'm very pleased now to ask Samantha Demby to come to the virtual stage and provide some background and introduction. And we're so glad you're here, Sam. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mike. Before I get started, I just wanted to do a quick check-in in Spanish with folks. I know some people are having trouble connecting to the translation channel, so I'm going to switch over to Spanish really quick. Buenas tardes a todos. Solo quería ver si las personas que están sintonizando en español, si se pudieran conectar a los canales de traducción. Si les está costando trabajo, por favor, escríbanos en el chat y ahí vamos resolviendo las dudas para ayudarles a conectar. Bueno, ahí dicen que sí se pudo. Muy bien. All right, so I'm going to continue in English. Thanks so much, Mike, for that introduction. My name is Samantha Demby, and I am joining you today from Zapotec territory in Oaxaca, Mexico, which is where I live, and I also conduct research, write about, and organize around environmental issues and natural resource extraction in the Americas. As Mike mentioned, this year I began collaborating with Wellington Water Watchers and other community groups to investigate Nestle's bottled water operations and the sale of Nestle's bottled water business to Wall Street investors. And I'm currently working with a group to investigate the French company Danone, which, as you'll hear about from Pueblos Unidos, from Nahua communities in Mexico, have been very negatively impacted by their bottled water business. All of the communities that I've been working with and that are presenting today in this webinar are experiencing the impacts of the bottled water industry firsthand. Many of us know these impacts include depleted groundwater, the loss of biodiversity, environmental contamination, massive amounts of plastic waste, as well as the theft of public water only to sell it back to our communities at discriminatory prices. And today I'm very honored to participate in this forum that's centering the voices of Indigenous peoples across the American continent who are organizing to take back their vital water resources from this global industry. So I'll just share a little bit about the agenda, which Mike outlined, and then we'll get started. We'll first zoom in on Mexico, where the Nahua peoples have been struggling for decades to protect their land and water. And this past month, they reappropriated Danone's water bottling plant in order to transform it into a vibrant community center that responds directly to their community's needs. Then we'll go to the lands that are known as the US and Canada, where Don of the Penobscot Nation and Mikasa from Six Nations territory will help us draw out some parallels to their own people's struggles to protect groundwater, in particular from Nestle's, from the bottled water operations that were formerly owned by Nestle. So the aim today is really to connect these different struggles for water and to generate conversations between movements and amongst all of us present. So in that regard, I encourage you all to write your questions for our speakers in the chat box. And these, I'll pose those to our speakers at the end of each presentation. And at the end of all of the three speakers, after we hear first from Pueblos Unidos, then from Don, and then from Akasha, we'll open up the discussion so that we can share our experiences and our hopes and ideas for the future. In that regard, I'll just leave us with a few questions for collective reflection before handing the microphone over to Pueblos Unidos. What strategies are corporations using today to privatize water and to criminalize water protectors? What forms of resistance and re-existence are our communities employing in order to defend their rivers, springs, lakes, and oceans? And finally, in the face of increasing coordination among public and private, national and transnational actors in the bottled water industry, what kinds and forms of connection across borders have the potential to nourish our water protector movements? With that, Without further ado, it's my pleasure to hand the mic over to representatives from Pueblos Unidos. Es mi placer pasar el micrófono a los compas de Pueblos Unidos para que nos puedan contar un poco de su lucha contra Danone, contra Bonafont y sus actividades actuales en la Casa de los Pueblos. Muchas gracias.
Más arriba. Bueno, buenas tardes, compañeros, que nos encontramos en la empresa Bonafont del municipio de Juan Cebonilla, México. Quiero compartirles a través del año 1955-1985, en donde todo este territorio había muchísima agua. 35 amellales, que era mucha vida para los seres humanos y para el campo. Todo eso había en los ríos, mucha flora, mucha fauna. En el campo, mucha variedad de árboles frutales. Nada de contaminado, todo era vida, porque no había más enfermedades. La gente no sufría escasez de alimentos, sea de granos, sea de frutas. Nada de aire contaminado, todo lo que era el río era una pureza, era un paraíso, todo esto. Pero a través de los años, después de 1985, se instaló una autopista México-Puebla, y a través del proceso de industrialización fueron asentándose las industrias, empezando por la Volkswagen, instalada en Ocotlán, Estado de Puebla. Luego le siguió ILSA de México. Luego el aeropuerto Hermano Cerdán. Ya en 92, aquí esta empresa, anteriormente llamada Arcoíris. Después, en el año de 1994, se instaló la empresa Bonafont. Entonces, todo eso comenzó a causar daños, no nomás al medio ambiente, sino que a toda la humanidad. Muchos animalitos se extinguieron. La flora y la fauna también se extinguió. Entonces, en el análisis de esta región, tenemos ya nomás el 25% de vida, lo que resta. Para esto, pues, el 22 de marzo del presente año, se decidió cerrar por completo la empresa, en ese entonces todavía con el nombre de Bonafont. Y así sucesivamente se siguió organizando los demás pueblos para la participación. Todo esto que se hizo, pues visitábamos los amellales donde antes había, pues comenzó a brotar unos 50 centímetros de agua. Todo esto se comunicó a vecinos y hubo más unidad para seguir el proceso de por completamente no queremos ya esta empresa que ha dañado muchísimo. Mucho dolor, mucho sufrimiento por el agua. Y en el lugar donde nos encontramos ubicados, aquí por completamente los pozos artesanales de esta comunidad se secaron. Actualmente, pues, ya hay un poquito de agua. Por eso decidimos que no queremos ver a Bonafont, no queremos ya más contaminación. Vamos a defender nuestro territorio para defender la vida, porque de acuerdo a la biología, todo ser humano es alimentado por el 70% de agua, sea plantas, animalitos o humanos, es el 70% que consume el ser humano para tener vida. Es la razón de que compartimos esta experiencia de que no es posible que los gobiernos sigan permitiendo la instalación de empresas transnacionales, como actualmente se encuentra el corredor industrial de Huehuetenango, que quería contaminar nuestro río. Ya organizados hicimos un plantón en donde prohibimos que se conectaran los drenajes al río Metlapanapa. Esa es la razón que seguimos manteniéndonos unidos, todos los 20 pueblos de esta región, Cholulteca, México, para defender territorio, el agua, medio ambiente, para tener vida. Por eso es de que es la compartición que yo les hago, porque doy testimonio de 1955 a 85, esos 30 años que había mucha riqueza, un desarrollo de la misma naturaleza, no como ahora los gobiernos y el capitalismo nos engaña, que es un desarrollo para mejor vida. ¿Cuál es la vida? Sino que mucha contaminación, mucha enfermedad, muchos trabajadores con un salario de miseria. Por eso no estamos de acuerdo de que nos quiten parte de la vida, que es el agua. El agua es de todos los seres humanos. El agua no es un producto de mercancía. Esa es la razón de que quise compartirles todo esto, lo que está sucediendo aquí en la ex empresa Bonafont. Por eso es de que el día 1 de agosto abrimos las instalaciones con un acuerdo común. Aquí no hay líderes, líderes son todos los pueblos. Están participando, estamos dentro de la ley, porque nuestro gobierno, actualmente López Obrador, ha decretado que en el artículo 4 constitucional que el agua es de todos, la tenemos que defender a capa y espada. La resistencia es vida, la sumisión es muerte. Muchísimas gracias, compañeros, por esta intervención.
También queremos compartirles que pues Bonafont hace más de 29 años se instaló aquí en estas comunidades, primero iniciando como Arcoíris, que la empresa Arcoíris se vino a sentar aquí y con apoyo de muchas familias, engañándolas, diciéndoles que el pozo que iban a instalar, pues que era un pozo agrícola, más nunca, o sea, lo hicieron eso a base de engaños para que consiguieran las firmas de los vecinos, para que les otorgaran el permiso para que se pudieran instalar. Entonces, después, en 1994, se instaló la empresa Bonafont, y ahí ella a raíz de eso, pues instaló otro pozo más, que todavía está por descubrirse, pero ya se tiene tomado en cuenta que está ya el otro pozo. y pues este pozo son industriales que están saqueando el agua, que nos saquean el agua, pues sacan al día 1.641.000 litros de agua diarios por minuto. Pues sí, ese es el enojo de las comunidades que tenemos. Y pues nosotros ya habíamos comentado más antes que esta empresa ya se tenía que ir, se le hizo el llamado, pero la empresa pues burlona no nos tomó en cuenta. Entonces pues ya después decidimos, todos los pueblos, todas las comunidades de aquí cercanas, vecinos, a raíz de pues de muchas juntas, decidimos los 20 pueblos unirnos para venir a cerrar esta empresa, y entonces decidió que el 8 de agosto, que es Día Internacional del Agua, pues ese día se tomara el cierre de la empresa Bonafont. Entonces pues venimos, y pues a raíz de eso los medios de gobierno, ninguno de ellos pues han hecho caso omiso, ¿no? No nos han tomado en cuenta de todo lo que pues nosotros, nuestros llamados sobre todo. Y pues es lo que decidimos. Y ya para el 22 de marzo, pues se hizo una rueda de prensa donde pues dijimos que se les invitó a todos los medios de gobierno, a todos los niveles, y a muchas asociaciones, ¿no? Pues se hizo el juicio donde los empresarios y con agua y todos ellos no vinieron, ni Miguel Barbosa, ni a Tendencia, nadie llegó. Entonces, pues todos decidimos ese día tomar las instalaciones para que esa empresa ya se vaya de aquí. Y pues entonces, este lugar ya está tomado, y con esto se va a hacer se va a ser tomado para talleres para nuestras comunidades, y de hecho ya se están realizando talleres para los niños, de salud, de todos estos niveles, para que nuestras familias tengan todos estos espacios gratuitos, a modo de que ellos no tengan que pagar nada de esto. Es por eso que, bueno, aquí les voy a invitar aquí a la compañera que nos apoye para que sigan informándose de esto que les queremos comunicar.
Sí, también es importante mencionar, compañeros, que pues nosotros como pueblos, ¿verdad? Nosotros, la razón de vida es el agua, que es sagrada, que la necesitamos para todo ser vivo, ¿verdad? Que para nosotros es nuestra hermana, porque con ella tenemos un vínculo, una relación muy importante. Y pues las empresas nunca lo van a ver así, ¿verdad? Siempre la van a ver como mercancía, como la que se extrae, la que se explota, la que se saquea, pero nunca van a ver esa relación tan grande que tenemos nosotros los pueblos con la hermana agua, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros la ocupamos para cultivar, para semillas, para alimento, para salud, para nuestros animalitos. Entonces, pues al momento de que no tenemos esta agua, pues ¿con qué vamos a sembrar? Si de eso también nosotros vivimos. Entonces, para nosotros es muy importante defenderla. En este momento, pues, como dice mi compañera, el 22 de marzo, que es Día Internacional del Agua, pues ese día se cerró, ¿verdad? Por acuerdo de asamblea de 20 pueblos, nos organizamos y cerramos. Y pues se toma, ¿verdad? El 8 de agosto. Igual, como ella menciona, pues se les invitaron a las diferentes dependencias de gobierno. a los 3 niveles, a Conagua, a Semarnat, pero pues no llegaron. Entonces, pues la tomamos por eso, porque ya no era justo de que siguieran saqueándola durante 29 años. Y más que nada porque desde un principio fue todo un engaño, ¿verdad? Para la población, decir que iban a hacer un pozo agrícola y pues nosotros lo creímos, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué? Porque sabemos que eso nos beneficia a nosotros porque sembramos. Y resulta que no, que fue un engaño y pues que fue a beneficio, ¿verdad? De la empresa o de estas empresas. Ahora que este lugar lo tenemos en resguardo, ¿verdad? Porque ahora ya hacemos aquí los diferentes talleres que tenemos ya para las comunidades y pues la Casa de los Pueblos ahora se hace un proyecto nuevo diferente a lo de las empresas, ¿verdad? Porque mientras ellos saquean y explotan y dan muerte con esto, al sacar a nuestra agua, pues nosotros no, lo que hacemos con este lugar es darle vida haciendo talleres de primeros auxilios, de medicina tradicional, de repujado, de sembrar hortalizas, de alimentación. Hemos tenido encuentros de mujeres del 30 al 4 de agosto. Hicimos un encuentro de mujeres a donde se habló de autonomía y justicia. También tuvimos otro taller del encuentro de científicos por la vida, también a donde pues ellos desde la parte, ¿verdad? De estudio, ¿verdad? O de ciencia, pues ellos nos dan a conocer cómo ven al agua, ¿verdad? Pero nosotros la diferencia total, ¿verdad? Un giro total de 360 grados, ¿cómo la vemos nosotros? Que pues siempre, ¿verdad? La vamos a defender porque es sagrada para nosotros. ¿Y por qué lo digo esto? Porque nosotros cuando rascamos un pozo que es manualmente se va rascando, pues, y encontramos la primera agua, pues hacemos fiesta, ¿verdad? Porque echamos cohetes, compartimos un taquito, galletas, y hacemos fiesta en ese momento. Cuando se echa cohetes, la comunidad llega, ¿verdad? La primera agua que nace, y toda esa agua se da de beber a los que estamos, ¿verdad? Ahí. Como vecinos nos compartimos esto también y esa alegría para nosotros es fiesta y las empresas nunca van a ver eso, nunca. Ellos lo que quieren es sacarla, explotarla y ganar dinero y nosotros no. O sea, toda la diferencia que hay entre un despojo a nuestra agua y nosotros, ¿verdad? La diferencia que hacemos con ella, porque también nosotros hacemos ceremonias cuando estamos frente a la Meyal. Ahí le ofrendamos las semillas, porque gracias a ella tenemos esas semillas y gracias a de relación que tenemos nosotros y que las empresas jamás ver eso. Entonces es por eso que para nosotros es muy importante defenderla, amarla, cuidarla y más que nada respeten esta lucha de resistencia y que no, porque ya durante 29 años ya lo hicieron. Ya basta. Ya basta de que nos estén dejando sin agua y de que nuestros pozos artesanales análisis estuvieran muriendo, ¿de qué íbamos a ver esta agua? Entonces, pues,
Pues también, como ustedes sabrán, pues también ven por todos los medios de comunicación se han enterado que pues,
Hi, everyone. I think we lost the folks from Pueblos Unidos. Compas de Pueblos Unidos, ¿nos escuchan? Ahí sigue. Bueno. All right. So I think let's continue for now. I know there's at least one question from the audience for Pueblos Unidos, and I have a few questions as well. But maybe, I don't know, Mike, Danny, what do you think? Maybe we can continue on with the next speakers, and then when Pueblos Unidos loops back in, we can loop back to them.
That's a good idea, Sam. I'm just wondering, there's a question from Gail Edward in the chat box about the translation, and I'm wondering if you can just speak to that.
Yeah, Gail, you're looking at the captions, which are the subtitles. What you need to do, as Danny explained in the beginning, and I think you can write a private chat message to Danny so she can help you, is you need to go to the options on the side and go to language interpretation. So it's not the same as the subtitles, it's the language interpretation, and that will enable you to activate the English interpretation for when folks are speaking Spanish. So I'm sure Danny would be happy to help you with that. She can write you a private message. If anyone else is having trouble, please reach out to our great tech folks and to Danny, and they will be able to help you.
And Samantha, I see that Sharon Kirkham has raised her hand, but Sharon, we can't put you on the microphone. So the best thing to do if you've raised a hand is to send us a question in the chat box. And Samantha, I think it's a good idea for us to go to the next presentation. Before we do that, I just wanted to mention that we're encouraging people to make a donation, and we're going to put the donation link in the chat box now. The donation page is in US funds, and those funds will go directly to Pueblos Unidos to support them in the work that they're doing to create a community hub and to do support activities like we're being described there at the end in terms of workshops and outreach to people around food security, et cetera, et cetera. So that we encourage people to make a donation. It's like a telethon. We'll make this announcement again over the course of the meeting. But I'm just wondering if before we change topics, the question there about how did you close the plant? Sam, do you happen to know anything about that? Are you able to speak to that at all? Or should we save that for when they come back?
I can definitely speak to that, but I do think it would be best to let Pueblos Unidos describe themselves how they did it. I know there's a couple of questions from the audience for Pueblos Unidos. I hope as our speakers keep presenting, there's more questions, and I have a few questions too. So
okay.
Let's why don't we continue on to hear from Don Neptune Adams of Penobscot Territory, and then when Pueblos Unidos is able to reconnect, we can ask them some questions and take it from there. Don, I'm passing the microphone over to you.
And also just a quick reminder for our speakers that if you're speaking in English, we do have someone that is live translating into Spanish as well. So please remember to speak slowly. Thanks.
Kwe, Andalurizi don Neptunatums, Najiao Banawebskewi, Skijinawe Apit, Aguanu. Buenos dias, me llamo Don Neptunatums, estoy Penobscot y bienvenido. Hello, my name is Don Neptunatums. I am from the Penobscot Nation in Penobscot Territory. I welcome you and I am honored to be here. First, I'd like to clarify that although I am from the Penobscot Nation, I am not speaking for the Penobscot Nation. I came here as an activist with the Sunlight Media Collective and as a sister to Community Water Justice, who is very much involved with the battle against Blue Triton, formerly known as Nestle, here in Wabanakiyeg, which is now called Maine. I'm going to pause for a second for that translation to go through. I'd also like to, okay, I see that Juan says that he says I can go on. We have struggles here as well, as in other territories. The state of Maine is currently trying to claim ownership of our 60 miles of territory in our river. Back in 2012, the then Attorney General William Schneider sent a memo to the Chief and Council of the Penobscot Nation stating that the water that surrounds the 200 islands in our riverine territory was not part of our reservation, and that if we wanted to challenge them on this, we would have to take them to court. As many of you know, water, and as was spoken earlier, water is precious to us, it's sacred. So we have this clash of worldviews going on between the state of Maine and the indigenous people here. When the state of Maine claims ownership, they are doing so that they can exploit the water, so they can, continue to pollute. And when the Penobscot people say that the water is ours, we are talking about kinship connection, not ownership. Ownership is a colonial construct. It was brought here. It is not indigenous to this land. When we say that the water in the river is ours, we are saying that the water is our relative, not for sale, not for grabs to be abused and polluted. Danny, I think there's a map of Penobscot territory that I sent, if you could put that up for us. That's the one with all the wells. It's the next one that I emailed.
Sorry, Don, I don't have anything that came through on email. Do you want to share it yourself?
No, that's okay. This one will do.
Okay.
What you see here are the colonial borders of what is now called Maine, but what we know of as Wabanaki. Wabanaki territory extends beyond these borders, these imaginary lines that were created, just as much of a colonial construct. We are the same. Our struggles are the same. So we have been in a protracted court battle with the state of Maine, and something that is very unusual about Penobscot Nation versus Attorney General Aaron Fry, which is the name of the court case, is that the United States government stepped in as an intervener on the case. They have a trust and treaty responsibility to make sure that our treaties are upheld, and we have treaty reserved rights to the water in our river. In the lower part of that map there, the southwestern part, is Freiburg, and that is where Nestle, now known as Blue Triton, has a 45-year contract to extract water from our territory. That is land that was previously stewarded and taken care of by Penobscot and Abenaki ancestors. A little to the north of there, if you travel up from the Kennebec River, you'll come to a place called Norridgewock, and that is where there was a massacre in 1724 of Abenaki people by the British. Those were the people who had kinship connection to that territory. And now that many of them went to Odanak, the survivors, and some of them came to Penobscot Nation and to Passamaquoddy Nation as well. But that land where Blue Triton is extracting water, that is still stewarded, not owned, but stewarded by the ancestors who are from there. Maliakat is one of them. The place where they drilled the well was one of her favorite spots, and it was where she used to live. I have this unprovable theory that the Nestle trucks that have gone off the road in the winter were pushed off by those ancestors. I wanted to draw parallels from what Pueblos Unidos was saying to the struggles that are going on here. They said that industry exploits, and their connection to the water is sacred as a relative. And for us, it's the same thing. And we see our relatives as sacred. Our next, Sunlight Media Collective's next documentary is called The River is Our Relative, or This River is Our Relative. and it explores the spiritual and kinship connection that we have to the river, not as something that we exploit, but something, someone. And pretty soon, the Penobscot River will have the same rights as our human relatives. Looking forward to that day. Pueblos Unidos said it is so important to defend and respect the water, and I couldn't agree more. We have spent years and years defending the water in Wabanaki, and we will spend the rest of our lives doing so if that's what it takes. I stand in solidarity with you. I am looking forward to hearing how the extraction issues were solved when Pueblos Unidos comes back. In the beginning of Pueblos Unidos conversation, the man said that they were tricked by industries, and that has gone on here as well. When our court case, Penobscot Nation versus Attorney General Janet Mills, began, actually that's one of the attorneys general. There have been 3 since this court case started. We have taken it to court 3 times, and 3 times we have been turned down. But as for the tricking by industries, there were 16 interveners on the case, and each one of them, except for the United States, each one of them was a wastewater site, wastewater processing site, or paper factory, paper mill, or some type of company that made chemicals for paper mills. The Industrial Revolution ruined the water. As a child, I never even touched the Penobscot River, not once that I can remember, because it was so polluted. But people who did swim in the water came out with, skin lesions. The water quality affected even the air, where it was poisonous to breathe that air. And our sustenance fishing rights in the Penobscot River were useless. Our treaty reserve sustenance fishing rights were useless because the fish were too polluted to eat. A lot of our people have died of cancer of the stomach, from eating the fish anyway. As we all know, a lot of Indigenous people are targeted, marginalized, especially socially, economically. Excuse me, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. To give a little background, places across the river from our reservation often discriminated against Penobscot people. It was hard to get jobs, and we were dependent on the state and federal government for food rations. Some of that cheese was pretty good, though. But in order to survive, a lot of times our relatives caught fish out of the river, even knowing that they were poisoned with paper mill chemicals, and ate those. In 1999, the cancer rate for Penobscot people was 5 times higher than the rest of the state. If you look on that map there, in the middle of what is now called Maine, that's the Penobscot River. I wish I had a pointer so I could point to it. Yeah, there we go. A little lower. Yep, right there. So that is where the Penobscot River is located, from the ocean all the way up to Katahdin. It drains a quarter of the state of Maine, and it is under threat from two major sources right now, with a third looming in the background. There is the Juniper Ridge landfill, which is probably the most egregious polluter right now. And that is a huge state-owned, privately run landfill just a mile away from the reservation. It's taking out-of-state trash from states all around the East Coast. And these states have more stringent regulations than what the state of Maine has imposed on the landfill. The private people who run it, who are a private industry, Casella, they say that they really can't exist as a manager and make a profit without bringing in out-of-state trash. But the out-of-state trash that they're bringing in is the worst kind. It's construction, excavation, and demolition debris containing lead, mercury, and a whole bunch of other really bad things. They're taking in wastewater sludge, which contains PFAS, so-called forever chemicals. It's an open air facility, so when it rains, the rain trickles down through this landfill, and toxic soup is collected at the bottom. This is called landfill leachate. So all of those out-of-state, shipments of poison that are dumped right next to our reservation, those poisons are mixed with our sacred water, falling down as rain, trickling down into the bottom, and then what's collected in the bottom is taken just a mile, or actually less than a mile, from the reservation to an inadequate wastewater treatment plant. What they do is they dilute it with river water. Again, our sacred relative is mixed with chemicals. They let the solids float down to the bottom, and they release the diluted water into the Penobscot River, just south of the reservation. Our reservation is an island surrounded on all sides by water. We have the pollution coming from Juniper Ridge to the north of us, and the inadequately treated leachate, up to 15 million gallons a year, dumped just south of us. The wastewater treatment plant is at 9 Dragons paper mill facility, which is now back online after a time of being offline. the wastewater treatment plant there was never meant for landfill leachate. It was meant for paper mill processing, pulp and paper mill discharge. There are more than 90 chemicals in that water, in the leachate, that they are not testing for. Another threat to our river is to the north, 97.8 miles from Penobscot Nation Reservation. And that is a proposed mining facility at Picket Mountain, so-called Picket Mountain. I don't know the name of it in my own language, but it is next to Katahdin, which means Great Mountain. We also have wastewater discharges all along the river from municipalities. So it's all interrelated and connected, all of these struggles. The state of Maine wants to take ownership of the river so that it can continue to pollute and abuse. We disagree, saying that that is our relative, and we never, ever gave up the right to protect our relative, neither under any treaty nor under the Maine Indian Land Claims Settlement Act. The other industries extracting water and polluting water have seen that the state and industries are getting away with this collaboration between the two of them, and it emboldens them to continue their assaults. I am happy to take any questions. I know there's a lot I didn't cover. I'll think of it all later.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for that very, very informative and moving presentation. So I have a couple of questions here from the audience that I'll share with you, and then we'll try to link back to Pueblos Unidos. So one audience member is asking, how are you and your allies opposing the state trying to take ownership over the Penobscot River?
So the first thing that we did was we made a 44-minute documentary called Penobscot Ancestral River Contested Territory. This was made in 2015, and it was nominated for Best Documentary of 2015 by NEMI, the New England Emmy Awards in Boston. It can be seen at sunlightmediacollective.org. And it gives all of the background. I think the most important thing to do is to educate people on the background, because there's so much to know. People who are in solidarity with us here in Wabanakik, a lot of them remember everything that has happened to reach this point. But there are many others who wish to be in solidarity, who don't know all of the background, and it's much harder for them to articulate the situation when they want to help. So I think education is the first step, and that is what Sunlight Media Collective has focused on. Thank you for sharing that movie. That will also be on MPBN later this fall.
Perfect, thank you. We have another question, an important question from Linda, who asks, how did the company manage to get a 45-year contract? That's a very large number of years. Even in the US, most contracts are shorter, especially for water. How did they manage to do that?
Well, if you don't mind, and if the audience doesn't mind, thank you very much for that question, Linda. I'd like to hand the mic over to my sister friend, Nikki Sakara of Community Water Justice.
Hi, everyone. Nestle was able to obtain a 45-year contract that gives them the upper hand of control over our groundwater here in the Western Mountain region of Maine through a contract with a private municipal water company. And our community had no say and cannot object to this because they engaged with a private water company. So we had no voice in this. And we challenged this case in the Maine State Supreme Court, where the judges determined that the Maine Public Utilities Commission that oversees such cases it was not within their purview to consider environmental impacts for contracts, especially of this length. Due to changes in our climate and relatively little scientific information available to the long-term impacts of such bulk water withdrawals, it's very irresponsible, short-sighted, and not sustainable. It was a precedent-setting contract in the whole United States, and it gives hedge funders that are working on water futures stability for that market. So it's really, really important that people refuse such long-term contracts, and we're still working at getting this changed at the local level. One thing I do want to say is the local Poland Spring brand of bottled water, you can see we've renamed it and we're calling it Stolen Spring because it reflects what this brand actually is to the community here in Maine. Thank you. Back to you, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That was one of the pictures that I should have sent, was that sticker, Stolen Spring.
Samantha, I think there's just a quick follow-up question on the contract question there in the chat box. Bob asks, can contracts are made with the ability to open them due to negligence? Can that work?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Contracts are made with the ability to open them due to negligence. Can that work?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Maybe we'll leave it as a rhetorical question.
Sure. Unless Nikki has something to add. What do you think, Nikki?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't have the exact answer to. However, there is, oh gosh, I'm just thinking back to my testimony when I was testifying against this contract. The only thing that's coming to my mind is the duty to protect, but it's not that, because there is something similar that they have the responsibility to protect our futures in this regard. And there's a legal term for it, and I'm spacing on it right now, but that concept will be brought back around, and we talk about that and in trying to move our government to reconsider such contracts. So we're going to be putting in a bill in this next session to limit any such contracts in the future, and so all of this will be hashed out within, starting next January.
Thank you, Nikki. There was one thing I wanted to mention, and I totally spaced out, but that is that there is a water crisis in Passamaquoddy territory. our cousins to the east, and they currently cannot drink the water out of their tap in Zebaic because it's full of trihalomethane. Their sister reservation at Madakmiguk, which is about an hour north, has proposed drilling and bottling the water there, but many of the grandmothers, Passamaquoddy grandmothers, oppose this because they fear that the infrastructure would be sold off to an industry like Blue Triton or any other.
Great. Thank you so much, Don. I'm just going to reflect one final question from the folks at Pueblos Unidos, and then we'll go on to hear from Makasha Looking Horse so that we have some time for questions at the end. I know Pueblos Unidos is probably going to want to share a little bit more since they got cut off. I know there's some audience questions for Pueblos Unidos as well. Pueblos Unidos, they're interested in understanding how you and other folks from your nation are organizing on the level of the country. So, if there are connections with other groups within the US, how is that kind of community organizing taking place for you all?
Many of us from Penobscot Nation, gracias para la pregunta. Yo olvidé platicar en español. Many of us from the Penobscot Nation went to Standing Rock to stand in solidarity with the people there, where we also shared our struggles and found community together. There are a lot of parallels between struggles across the country. So I don't know about any other water warriors here, but I think that many of us are so focused on survival. We're basically fighting for our lives here, as many people are. A lot of times it can be very isolating. It does help to hear everybody else's story of struggle, and especially the victories that they've had. But when you're treading water, a lot of times we miss out on that. I know I have. I have been very focused since 2011, 2012 on defending the river here. I have a few times taken time out to join other people, first at Standing Rock and later in Selmisek, which is located in what is now called South Texas. I joined in with their struggles against fracking and against the wall, which was going to be put through a burial ground. But I think that the more we connect and the more we share strategy, the more we can rise together.
Thank you so much, Don. I think that is a great note to end on. That's really the whole spirit of this webinar, and which is really, the Spanish word is encuentro, an encounter between different movements and allies. So with that, I want to travel, from the Southern Territory, known today as Mexico. We went to the northern part of what's called the US, what's today called Maine, Wabanaki territory. And now we're going to go up further north to what's called Ontario, to the territory of the Six Nations of the Grand River. And we've heard from Pueblos Unidos, we've heard from Don about the Penobscot struggle for water. And I think we've heard that the strategies of the corporations usually relies on lies and on different ways of using the legal and political system through regulatory capture. We've seen that often court cases may be a strategy, but are often used against peoples who are defending their water. And I think we've also heard about many of the creative and resilient ways that folks are fighting to defend their water resources and to create a different way of relating to water. So with that, Makasa, I'd love to pass the microphone on to you so that we can hear how your nation is dealing with these issues and trying to ensure clean water for all of our communities going forward.
Sego, hola. Sego soy Grego Makashinget, Genihaganu Gohonjore, Wagatahuni, Six Nations, Nido Wageno. Hi everybody, my name is Makasha Looking Horse, and I'm Mohawk Wolf Clan, Genikahaga, and Lakota from Six Nations territory. I am a university student at McMaster University, and I am a community youth leader in my community, and I wear a lot of hats with rites of passage, and I've been on a water research team. We're actually working on a lot of those things that Don has mentioned before with our water being contaminated. That is happening here in Six Nations. We have 5 different mercury, 5 different heavy metals in our tap water that we found through this research that we were not expecting. We are creating a virtual reality. We are tagging turtles, and we're testing the tap water and more households in our Six Nations community to try to resolve all of those contaminants. And that's where I actually learned 3 years ago about what Nestle was doing. And that's where I learned that they were taking 3.6 million liters of aquifer water out of our territory and out of our aquifer from my community that only has 10% of accessible drinking water. I'll share my screen. Present, insert view. Yeah, so that's where I learned when on that research team 3 years ago that Nestle was taking out 3.6 million liters of aquifer water out of our territory, and that enraged me because at the same time I was learning that only 9% of my community had access to clean drinking water. And then I was also learning that we had 5 different heavy metals within our tap water. And I was learning all of these things that my community was in. It was clear that they're in a water crisis. And then on a bigger scale, I learned that the whole world, we're on a water crisis, and that it's not just an Indigenous thing that's happening in Canada. It's happening all over. And it's not only Indigenous people that are like worried and just because we're on the front lines all the time. It's for all of our health, and there's less than 2% of fresh water in the entire world for everybody. So I think we need to all protect these water bodies. in whatever area that we're in and make sure that they're protected and they're not being sold and taken by these corporations like Nestle and Blue Triton, because they're just stealing the water, making money off of it and selling it back. And now that it's moved to Blue Triton is kind of a different story than Nestle because it's a stock market. They're selling stocks on the stock market. And so now it's the equivalent commodity compared as the same as oil and logging and all of these other things. And that's not viewed as a human right. It's viewed as a commodity, which is super scary, knowing that, like, well, I know that the president or someone who works for Nestle said it himself that water is not a human right. And that's what they truly believe. They truly believe that water is not a human right and that we have to buy water. When water is a human right and we all need water in order to live. And that's why it's so dangerous that it's on the stock market and that they're selling it as a commodity. And we're moving in this direction where it's Canadians and the US and everywhere believes that you have to buy bottled water and that's the only way that you can get water, when it's not. You should have access to a well, you should have access to free drinking water 24/7, no matter what. Even if it doesn't matter what your income is, everybody has clean drinking water because we can't live without it. Nothing can. And so that's why it's so scary, and we really need to come together and push back to these companies stealing water, because we already know, like you mentioned Standing Rock before. My father is a chief overlooking horse, and he's a spiritual leader of the Great Sioux Nation, and he was there at Standing Rock, and he got all those people there, and our people were there through it. My ancestors were the bones that were dug up for that pipeline to go through there. And I come from a long line of land defenders and water defenders since colonialism in the 1600s. That's what my people have always, the land has always tried to protect the land from all of this consumption and capitalism. And that's what every single fight for the Indigenous peoples was always about, was saving the land and saving the water, because we know that we're equal to, or the water is not even equal to us. It's greater than us. Like, it gives life to the entire world. It gives life to everything. So water is way up here and is a grandmother at the highest respect and value. And it's in our creation stories, and it's in our traditional stories, and that's why water is so sacred to all Indigenous people, because we know that value of it. And same with land, and that's what every fight that we've ever had was ever about, was making sure that our land is clean and that we have future generations have a future. And it's really, like I said, that's what my Lakota side and Mohawk side has always fought about, and you can read on all of our fights that we ever had. And it's so when anyways, to get back to Nestle, what we did do was, when I found all that out, I had a community event, and I let my community know what was happening and what they wanted me to do, and that's what I organized. And so I also went to my traditional leadership and I let them know. The first protest that we had at the Nestle plant was in the winter time, and we got 500 people there and let them know that we didn't want them there and that they needed to leave, because they didn't ask. So what Nestle's permit was, is they paid $500 a year. I mean, they paid the $500 to extract water for that entire year. And that's what their permit is. So they're making millions and millions and millions for the past 6 years. And they paid $500 a year for it. And they asked the federal government, or I don't know, provincial federal government, and not the indigenous Haudenosaunee traditional government that we have at Six Nations. And so, and then the following summer is when we got the cease and desist. And this is what I'm reading here. And I'm next to our traditional leadership, our grandmothers. They're called clan mothers, and they're held higher than the chiefs. And they call the actions of what happens in our community. So we still have our traditional leadership. And this was the morning of having information session, and we had the kids from the Gowanio school to make posters, and that's what's hanging up at the bottom. This is the one in the winter where we blockaded at the driveway. And this was when I first met the Wellington Water Watchers, and where we had first started working together. And on the right is the morning of that action. We went and did a water ceremony before we did the action. And so here's the support letter from the Confederacy, our traditional Haudenosaunee Confederacy, to the youth. And so it says, the water is sacred to all creation. Water is sacred to our future generations. Water is life. Pursuant to the Haldeman Proclamation and the 1701 Nanfan Treaty, Nestle sits on Haudenosaunee territory upon which is carrying out illegal activity in removing aquifer water from our territory. We hold ancestral title to these lands, territories, and waters. We support the youth who are taking action to raise awareness and continue to take action and uphold our collective responsibility to protect the water. We are aware that Nestle is illegally taking 3.6 million liters of water a day from beneath our feet. There's a moratorium in place, yet Nestle continues to take our previous resource. The majority, 91% of our people at Six Nations do not have access to clean drinking water. Many without running water, they are forced to buy water, often from Nestle. This is a grave injustice to Six Nations. We will continue to support our youth in protecting our water. We continue to support ongoing actions of our youth who will be protesting against Nestle on June 8th. And I believe this was just a few other pictures. I'm going to exit this out, and I'm going to show this the cease and desist letter. If I can, I found it. So this isn't the exact cease and desist letter, but it was the rough copy before it was made. So this one says, Nestle Well Site, 101 Brock Road, South Aberfoyle. Water is sacred to all creation. Water is sacred to our future generations. Water is life. We support the actions of our young people taking action. We are aware that your company is illegally taking 3.6 million liters of water per day. That was all basically the same thing in the other one, but it's saying, we as the Haudenosaunee Confederacy will continue to assert our rights as Indigenous peoples of this territory. We continue to assert our rights as who lived on these territories for countless generations. We will continue to raise rise up for our rights of our people, for the rights of the life within our lands, territories, and waters, and coming faces of our future generation. So maybe this isn't the cease and desist, but I couldn't find the original document. Oh, this is. I could not find the original document anyways, but it has something along these lines. But that is what we had, that's what we have did to try to stop Nestle, and I'm trying to get another cease and desist from our traditional council confederacy to make one for Blue Triton, because this has just happened, and is new and is a new fight, but we are still wanting all of that water that Nestle did take before for the 6 years. So there are precautions, or I'm not too sure exactly what they're called, but from the water that they did take. And with the Blue Triton, what we are demanding is that we have the cease and desist, so they cease from doing any kind of illegal activity that they're doing right now, which is stealing water from our aquifer. And we are also going to demand that plant and that water is handed over to Six Nations for us, and being able to have that well there, and our traditional leadership will decide exactly what they're going to do with it. But that's our action right now, is to have that land and that plant handed back to Six Nations. And so I'm going to be delivering that on this month on September 24th. We are going to me and the Wellington Water Watchers and other supporters are going to have an action at September 24th, and having those demands, since they have not listened, and they're not going to listen, since they haven't respected asking us permission in the first place, and they have not been in any kind of contact and moving in the direction of seizing and moving and stop taking our water. So we're in the same position. And I think it's really badass what you guys are doing over there in Mexico, and taking over the entire plant and making it your own, and having that safe space for your families and for your people. And it's really hard to get that ball rolling over here, but that would be the hope and the dream someday that would be able to happen over here. And we're moving in that direction. I'm just trying to get my community leaders to want to care enough to do that, I guess, and know that this is the only way that they are going to listen. They're not going to listen through any kind of paperwork, and acknowledging our treaties, because they haven't before, and they're not at your anywhere else in the entire world. They have never respected any kind of Indigenous treaties, and are continuing to completely disrespect any kind of Indigenous say, or disrespect the land and disrespect the water. So I think I hope that we can all move forward, and I know it's really scary, but it's what we have to do to protect our future generations, because climate change is real, and it is here, it's happening, and we all need to be alarmed, and we all need to be afraid, and we all need to be slightly not comfortable with this, because it's not comfortable, and it's really alarming what our future is looking like. And I think everybody needs to pay attention.
Thank you so much, Mikasa, especially for that call to action, which I think is the motivation that we all need to wake up with in the morning and go to sleep with at night. So kind of drawing from what you said and that point that you ended on, referring back to Pueblos Unidos struggle, I wanted to hand the mic back over to Pueblos Unidos. So I'll switch over to Spanish to pose some of the questions to them, and then we'll hand the mic over to them. Entonces voy a cambiar a español. Entonces, un poco llegando de lo que nos compartió Mikasa sobre la inspiración de la lucha de Pueblos Unidos. Creo que algo muy importante que han notado varios miembros del público es que aquí hay luchas en diferentes etapas de desarrollo. Hay unas luchas que pues han hecho protestas en las plantas de embotellamiento de agua, o que incluso este mes van a hacer una toma simbólica de la planta. Pero el sueño es poder llegar hacia donde ha llegado Pueblos Unidos, que tienen una toma definitiva de la planta de Danone para poder ocuparlo para la Casa de Pueblos, para sus necesidades de sus propias comunidades. Entonces, en este sentido, quiero pasar el micrófono a Pueblos Unidos con unas preguntas que quedaron de miembros del público, de cómo es que ocuparon la planta de embotellamiento de agua, y yo agregaría en el panorama largo de su lucha, cómo es que ocuparon la planta y cómo es que llegaron desde hace muchos años a hacer una toma simbólica de la planta hasta el mes pasado que ocuparon la planta definitivamente. Compas de Pueblos Unidos, les paso el micrófono si están por ahí. Vamos a esperar unos minutos más para ver si los compas de Pueblos Unidos pueden conectarse. All right. Unfortunately, I'm assuming that the folks from Pueblos Unidos are still having some connection issues. So if at any moment Pueblos Unidos, I think they're with us now. Adelante, compas.
Bueno, quiero darle respuesta a su pregunta de que todo esto fue un proceso a través de la organización y concientización y participación. ¿Qué quiero decir con esto? De que al ver todos estos daños que estaba causando estas empresas o que ha causado, pues nos organizamos, hicimos ver los daños que estábamos sufriendo. Entonces quisimos retomar como el capitalismo, que habla de una filosofía para el bien de ellos. Nosotros también estamos tomando ahorita como filosofía, ya hablamos de amor al agua, amor al prójimo. Entonces, así estamos organizados de que ni un paso atrás. Vamos a seguir sembrando esta ideología a la presente generación y a las futuras, que quiero decir a los que vienen, para defender la vida. porque lo entiendo de que el capitalismo no respeta las leyes ni los gobiernos. Los gobiernos son administradores del capitalismo. Entonces vamos a tener que defender todo tiempo. No nos vamos a hacer un lado. Es mi respuesta, compañeros.
Muchas gracias, compañeras y compañeros. Aquí hay otra pregunta del público que va en el mismo sentido, o sea, tanto cómo ocuparon la planta, como cuál es su visión y su esperanza para la planta ocupada.
Bueno, ya aquí la compañera ya lo notificó de que se le llamó a los 3 niveles de gobierno, a municipal, estatal y federal, incluyendo a Semarnat y a Conagua. Hicieron caso omiso y no nos tomaron en cuenta. Entonces, aquí en México, el artículo 39 constitucional nos avala de que todo poder emana del pueblo. Por eso es de que a través de esa decisión de los 20 pueblos, decidimos tomarla y no vamos a salir ya de aquí, pase lo que pase.
Y compas, no sé si pueden hablar también a cuál es su visión y su esperanza para el espacio de la Casa de los Pueblos ahora y más adelante.
Miren, compañeros, nuestra visión es de que estas instalaciones fueron 29 años que nos estuvieron robando, trayendo agua, sea para beneficio de todos los pueblos. El beneficio va a ser en dar talleres para todas las poblaciones. Se les va a dar también consultas médicas, se les va a incluir la cultura de la música, la danza, de saber cómo defender nuestro territorio a las nuevas generaciones. Este espacio es un lugar en el que muchos años nos estuvieron reprimiendo con el agua. Entonces, estas instalaciones se tienen que retomar para un bien de todos los pueblos, un bien común, un bien en el que toda la gente tiene que saber que estos espacios son de los pueblos. También se va a hacer un radio comunitario. Este radio va a ser para seguir difundiendo, seguir haciendo conciencia de toda la gente. Cultura, lo que los gobiernos anteriores aplazando, no nos han dejado.
Disculpa, compañera, no sé si puede acercarse al micrófono más. De repente va y viene su voz. Escuchamos hasta la
¿Ahí
radio.
está bien?
Muy
¿Ahí
bien,
está bien?
gracias.
Bueno,
Perfecto.
el radio comunitario va a estar para todos los pueblos, para tener comunicación en todas las organizaciones a nivel país, y si se pudiera también va a ser a nivel mundial, porque esto es muy importante, tener la conexión de todas las organizaciones y seguir creciendo, poder aprender de todos. Estamos aquí como organización para aprender de todas las personas, de todas las organizaciones, y eso es lo que nos va a ayudar en esta comunicación. Queremos seguir creciendo, porque esto va a ser poco a poco. Todo lo que hemos aquí trabajado ha sido despacio, pero ha sido con una firmeza, que es lo que nos ha ayudado aquí como pueblos, esa firmeza, esa conciencia y esa determinación de decir, somos pueblo, nosotros estamos primero que las empresas llegaron después, como nosotros como pueblos, como originarios, estamos primero. Nuestra vida está primero y nosotros estamos defendiendo la vida de todos, el agua, la tierra, el aire, todo, nuestra energía, porque hasta nuestra propia energía los gobiernos nos las quieren quitar y eso es lo que no queremos. Entonces, eso es lo que nosotros estamos defendiendo aquí como pueblos, porque todos somos uno mismo y el defendernos unos, defendemos a todos. Y por eso estamos siendo muy constantes aquí. Toda la gente que está aquí está consciente y está muy con esa certeza de que esta casa que ya viene siendo de los pueblos es para los pueblos. Y aquí es a donde vamos a seguir creciendo a todas las generaciones que sigan luchando, que no vamos a dar marcha atrás porque es estar entregando nuestra vida a los malos gobiernos y a las empresas. Y queremos estar constantemente diciendo y difundiendo que las empresas lo único que hacen es matar la tierra, matar el universo. Y qué es lo que han venido haciendo todos estos años. Entonces es lo que nos ha dado esa fuerza de estar bien determinantes y con ese gusto y estar con las ceremonias de defendiendo el agua, de darles a entender a toda la gente que el agua es vida y que el agua es nuestra hermana, que ella nos defiende, nos purifica, nos limpia. Es lo que nosotros damos a entender, que todos los 4 elementos que viene siendo agua, aire, tierra, fuego, somos nosotros mismos. A nadie nos puede apagar, nadie nos puede venir a aplastar, porque todos somos lo mismo. Entonces es lo que queremos difundir a todo el mundo y todas las organizaciones que sigan y se levanten, que no sientan miedo, que tengan esa certeza de lo que están haciendo, es para el bien de todos. Y pues con esa certeza que tenemos aquí, estamos con estos pueblos unidos que estamos defendiendo y estamos haciendo para bien. No estamos destruyendo, estamos generando vida. Y pues eso es lo que les puedo compartir y pues decirles a todas las organizaciones que viva los pueblos unidos y viva a todas las organizaciones, porque estamos defendiendo la vida y todos los espacios que pertenecen a los pueblos originarios, que somos todos.
Muchísimas gracias por estas palabras inspiradoras, compañera, que nos conmueven a todas y todos. Voy a cambiar a hablar en inglés. So I just want to open up the discussion. We'll be closing soon. I know we're a little bit over our time, but I think the presentations were really great. And now is the time to kind of open up the discussion to all of the presenters. So I'll pose a question or two, and then if there are other questions from the audience, please feel free to share those in the chat box. So this is a question for Pueblos Unidos, for Don, for Macasa, for all of our presenters. What commonalities do you see between these sister struggles, and what possible points of collaboration do you see across borders? So I'd love to hear from all of our presenters if anyone wants to get started, and then we can pass the word on to others.
I yield to the other speakers. Would you like to go first?
Compas de Pueblos Unidos, ¿les gustaría empezar contestando esta pregunta de qué puntos o temas en común ven entre estas luchas hermanas y cuáles puntos de posible colaboración ven entre estas luchas por defensa del agua?
Well, I don't know if I can talk. For us, I think the allies are super important in any kind of I guess action. like the Wellington Water Watchers have been super supportive of our action, and I think that like allies can be super helpful to any kind of action and getting it moving, getting that support. Because like if it's just one person like I was, and then like I could not do it all by myself to get like a bus and to get posters and stuff like that really helped when we were doing our action, was to like call on the allies or ask these different organizations, or if they offered any help, don't be shy to take it, and because that's one of their responsibilities as even just a Canadian or a US, to any kind of treaties, to any kind of I guess responsibility that their Canadian government or the government were supposed to be originally, was to help each other. And I think that's one of the greatest ways that we can ask or have or receive help, is from allies, and doing those kinds of things, because we're already Indigenous peoples, and most times are already stressed on trying to get clean water to their households with their families. They're already under a lot of stress in their daily lives, and those types of ways. And that's just some ways that you can take off the burden, is start spreading like their action on different sites, or doing anything that you can, or you want to start a GoFundMe for their action, then you can do that and get all of the proceeds go to that action. And if you want to really do anything that can help the Indigenous action and fighting and keeping water, and just knowing that that water belongs to them, and their treaties is the first thing, learning that responsibility, and then trying to be as resourceful to them as possible. I think that is really, really helpful, and is one of the number one things. And that's another thing that I seen with Standing Rock. Like that was all of the allies that made that movement so huge, that there was thousands and thousands of people that showed up, like just to show up. They didn't have nothing. They just had themselves, and just you as a body there supporting the action. That can go big, and putting it online, it can go big. So just using all of the resources, and even if it's just you showing up as an ally, as a non-Indigenous person, or if you're from anywhere, you can just help us whatever you can, and you can be one of the best ways to keep that action going and keep it alive, and because that action is what is right. That's my answer.
Thank you, Makasa. I'm going to speak in Spanish. Me gustaría, compas de Pueblos Unidos, si siguen con buena conexión, me gustaría mucho pasarles la palabra para contestar esta misma pregunta que hicimos a todos los presentadores. ¿Cuáles puntos o temas en común ven entre estas luchas hermanas? ¿Y qué puntos de posible colaboración ven entre estas luchas tras fronteras?
¿Sí nos escuchan?
Sí, adelante.
Bueno, pues para nosotros es muy importante seguirnos articulando, ¿verdad? Con estos medios con estas redes sociales, para acercarnos más. Y si en algún momento podría haber un encuentro, ¿verdad? Físico, para hablar de estos proyectos de muerte, para platicar de los dolores que tenemos, ¿verdad? Tocante a toda la muerte que se viene de parte de las empresas. Es un encuentro de nada. Otro es pues seguirnos organizando, ¿verdad? Y desde donde estemos para hacer fuerza, dar a conocer todo lo que estamos haciendo y la gente se concientice, ¿verdad? De estas luchas, porque nuestra lucha no es por otra cosa, es por la gran vida de todos. La lucha de la vida que no cualquiera la enfrenta. Y nosotros, pues, como grupos organizados, pues lo estamos haciendo, ¿verdad? Y que la gente despierte, la que no lo ve, ¿verdad? Que es el más allá de una lucha, es la lucha por la vida. Nada más.
La pregunta que hicieron de cuáles los puntos que nos conectan, tanto de todas las organizaciones, todos estamos diciendo de la misma forma, en diferentes idiomas, pero creo que es la misma lucha que estamos haciendo, que es el agua, y todos tenemos la misma forma de ver el agua, que viene siendo nuestra familia. Es todo lo que nos lleva, que es en común, porque todos somos hermanos de diferentes formas, diferentes países, diferentes naciones, pero el agua es nuestra familia, es nuestra hermana agua, es nuestra abuela agua. Entonces, creo que todos tenemos la misma conexión, todos estamos en el mismo tema, no estamos equivocados en defenderla. Creo que al contrario de todas las organizaciones que están ahorita luchando por el agua, es por lo mismo, defendiendo la vida. Es en común que estamos, que también igual todos nos estamos organizando de la forma que viene siendo por asambleas, que viene siendo en comunicación a los otros pueblos para que se unan y se den cuenta de que las empresas son nuestro enemigo, las empresas que quieren a fuerza quitarnos la vida de esta forma, que nos quieren someter en quitarnos el agua. De esa forma nos están sometiendo. Entonces creo que todas estamos en el mismo tema, todos estamos en la misma conexión. Eso es lo que yo lo veo en ese común, porque hacemos también ceremonias. Todos le damos las gracias al agua, le damos las gracias a la vida, al universo. Todos estamos por un bien común y eso es lo que estamos conectados todos espiritualmente, porque el agua es espíritu. El agua es el espíritu que nos da a nosotros. Nosotros como personas somos agua y eso es lo que amamos. Eso es lo que es para nosotros el agua es sagrada y se defiende. Es lo que yo veo en común en todas las organizaciones que estamos en lucha. Gracias.
Que yo siento también que ya no consumamos esos productos, ¿verdad? Que vienen de esas empresas, que para nosotros es muy importante, pues ya sabe que en el momento que uno consume, pues sí, sometiéndonos para que sigamos comprando. Pues,
Compa, perdón, si puede girar un poco más para acercar el sonido, no se escucha, de repente va y viene. Gracias.
bueno, para mí otra alternativa sería ya no consumir sus productos que pues nos traen pura enfermedad, porque alimentos procesados no deben de estar aquí en nuestras comunidades, ya que nosotros tenemos nuestra comida tradicional y gracias a ellos pues también tenemos enfermedades y muerte. Esa es una parte para mí importante.
Muchas gracias, compas, compañeras. Aquí las personas en el público están compartiendo sus palabras. Dicen gracias por el gran trabajo y que viven los Pueblos Unidos. El agua es vida. Y dicen gracias Pueblos Unidos por su dedicación y acción por el agua. Voy a cambiar a inglés. I just wanted to pass the microphone over to Don. I don't know, Don, would you like to comment on that same question? And then we'll pose another 1 or 2 questions to all of our panel speakers. And then we'll close the event out because I know it's getting late. Don, would you like to share anything on that same subject?
Yes, first, solidarity to everyone in the struggle. You know, there are so many parallels between all of our struggles. Mikasa, I just wanted to let you know that Arvel has been in our territory, Arvel Looking Horse. He came here for the Healing Turtle Island ceremony in, I think it was 2018. But anyway, an aside is, it's, I think, very beneficial for us to all be in solidarity with one another, even though we may not have time to, you know, drop our own struggles to defend our own territories. You know, we can all learn from one another, and, you know, more outreach to one another would probably be really beneficial. And what is really important is, you know, amplifying each other, because Indigenous people are invisible oftentimes. I know here, you know, people across the world are not aware of what's going on with Penobscot Nation, but equally, people who are right here in Wabanaki, you know, my next door neighbor probably doesn't even know what's going on with us and our struggle. But the more we share with one another, the more we share what works, I think that is what will be needed. And what we really need to remember is, as Pueblos Unidos mentioned, it is capitalism that is the enemy, not one another. And that when we unite in common struggle, that is when we will succeed.
Yeah, speaking of uniting, I think that we should have a water activist coalition. So I like a group that we can communicate, because I believe that's what we all probably need. And I wonder, Mike, are you able to connect us all with email? I'm not exactly sure how that would work.
Yes, we can do that, Makasha.
But if we're able to keep in connection and help each other with, and maybe have a group and have a meeting between us all, and I think that would be really helpful, because it would be better than working
Están
alone.
traduciendo, dijimos.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you. I think that that's such a great idea. And I know Mike was speaking about an international event that Wellington Water Watchers is going to host. I know the folks from Pueblos Unidos spoke about an international kind of conference around water defense that they wanted to invite all of you to. So we'll definitely pull that together, because that's the whole point of us being here today. So I guess I'll just kind of close with one last round for all of our presenters. I think we touched on this a little bit, but I'm just wondering if there's any specific asks for folks who are, you know, both members of these communities or Indigenous or non-Indigenous allies who are with us today. Are there any specific asks that people can do in solidarity with each of your movements right now? whether it's sharing media, getting educated, donating. What can folks do today to act in solidarity with your movements?
Well, for ours, you can show up on September 24th at Aber 101 Aberfoyle, 101 Brock Road, Aberfoyle, probably at 12 o'clock at the Push Lynch Community Center. If anybody wants to join in on that. Also, if there's, also I have a show called Oneganos Let's Talk Water, and that's where I'm at right now. And there's, you guys can go and watch on there where we just finished, a few months ago, we finished our season 4. So there's about 20 episodes that are talking all in the theme of water and all about water, but they're not like directly at water. We have scientists, elders, activists, Quanah Chasing Horse, language people, people from the Amazon, Mari, great deal of people talking about water and talking about where they're from and they're exactly like what's happening in Mexico and different organizations like that, and other ones where they talk about like what they need also and how you were able to help them in the different episodes. And some are about stars and astrology around water. So they're really, and some about women in water and just like different themes like that. So all of them are posted on our YouTube channel. You can just look up Oneganos Let's Talk Water, and all of the episodes are on there. I'm the host, and we have a whole deal of people, important people speaking on there. So if you want to learn any more about water, indigenous people, you can go there.
Thank you, Makasha. I'm going to switch over to Spanish. Compañeras y compañeros de Pueblos Unidos, ¿podrían contestar la misma pregunta para ahora ir cerrando? ¿Qué podemos hacer, tanto la gente dentro de México como fuera de México, para actuar en solidaridad con su movimiento y para apoyar a los Pueblos Unidos?
Bueno, pues de la manera que nos podrían apoyar es denunciando todo esto que nos está pasando, toda esa criminalización que nos están haciendo cuando nos han acosado, nos han golpeado. Nosotras el 30 de octubre sufrimos un golpe por parte del Estado, de nuestro Estado, donde todas las mujeres íbamos al frente para detener todas estas tuberías que nos querían botar el agua negra a nuestro río. Pues fuimos atacadas por Guardia Nacional, por Policía Estatal, nos golpearon, a los niños también nos golpearon, nos echaron gas lacrimógeno, donde fuimos también combatidos con balas de goma, donde muchos los lastimaron. Y pues yo creo que de esa manera sería que ustedes nos puedan apoyar denunciando, y también pues hacer unas asambleas donde se pueda organizar todo esto a nivel global, con América y África, no sé, con otros países que ustedes nos pudieran contactar para seguir denunciando todos estos acosos. Y también pues quería mencionar algo sobre donde hace rato les comentaba cuando se nos fue la señal, que pues se nos formó un socavón. Fue muy grande, yo creo que fue conocido a nivel mundial. Este socavón está muy profundo, está hecho a 120, se formó a 120 metros de diámetro y por 20 metros de profundidad. Todo esto fue a base de que por la sobreexplotación del agua que estas empresas nos han estado saqueando. Y pues sí denunciamos a esta empresa Mercatus, a esta empresa que es la misma Danone, a otras empresas también que dicen que nos han estado sobreexplotando nuestra agua. Entonces también, pues denunciando también que aquí estando en el plantón, cuando nosotros nos organizamos para cuidar las 24 horas del día, somos acosados por la Guardia Nacional, por la Policía Estatal, Federal y por la Policía Local de nuestro municipio, donde viene la Guardia Nacional, nos sacan fotos, o donde vamos caminando, incluso los niños también vienen, les toman fotos, donde cada 5 minutos o menos de 5 minutos pasan la judicial, pasan todos, nos sacan fotos, se ríen de nosotros cuando nosotros salimos a ver, cuando también denunciamos a la energía de electricidad, la CFE, donde a cada rato está intentando venir, queriéndonos cortar la luz. Nosotros de esa forma nos estamos organizando aquí, donde vemos también, denunciamos también de lo de que pues a los niños, a nosotros, a cada rato nos están pues marginando sobre todo, ¿no? Eso es lo que nosotros, y también denunciamos lo que nos pase, pues es culpa del gobierno federal, del señor Andrés Manuel López Obrador, del señor Miguel Barbosa Huerta, que es del estado de Puebla. Los acusamos, los denunciamos por todos estos acosos que nos están haciendo todos los días. Aquí estamos sufriendo todo esto. Entonces, lo que nos pase, pues denunciamos todo eso, y que ustedes como organizaciones estén enteradas de lo que nos pueda pasar, porque día a día los compañeros también los han mandado a vigilar a todos nosotros, nos han estado vigilando nuestros domicilios, donde somos perseguidos, nos van siguiendo hasta donde llegamos, a nuestras casas o salimos de las casas. Tenemos camionetas paradas blindadas que nos vienen siguiendo hasta donde es nuestro paradero. Todo esto queremos denunciar, y que ustedes como organizaciones estén enteradas de todo esto, pero que también quiero comentarles que nosotros no tenemos miedos, no tenemos ningún miedo, porque lo que estamos defendiendo es un derecho a la vida, a nuestro pueblo, a nuestras comunidades. Entonces nosotros no tenemos miedo de todo eso que nos pueda suceder. Eso es lo que podemos agregar en este momento.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. To close us out, Don, would you like to add something? And I guess I'll just kind of close out responding to Pueblos Unidos by saying that I think it's really a moment in which international solidarity and connection is going to be very helpful for Pueblos Unidos. They're experiencing a lot of criminalization. They're experiencing lawsuits criminalizing particularly prominent members of their movement. They're experiencing government surveillance. As they mentioned, the different agencies are trying to assault their occupied space. So I think forming these networks to amplify their voices and be attentive to what's happening to them and denounce it is very important now. So I'll hand the mic over to Don to finish responding to that question before we close out.
A la gente de Pueblos Unidos quiero decir solidaridad en la lucha siempre. It's very disturbing to hear what they're doing to you, but know that you're not alone. You know, I can't say anything better than what Makasha and La Gente de Pueblos Unidos has said, but I can offer a prayer in the Penobscot language, if that would be welcome. Kachinuesk, Danawamane, Adamane Mamakiia, Wachia Nebawil, Sapali Bruliaduli. Great Spirit, watch over us, guide us through our pains and sorrows, and never let us fear this life on earth. Tahoe and Delnabamuk, all our relations.
Yeah, I think I can add and invite the Mexico. I don't know how to pronounce that. The name. Pueblos. To be on the Let's Talk Water show in our next upcoming season of season 5, so we can get your action out. And yeah, I'll probably be in contact with you through email. Hopefully you get it and that we're able to organize later in the coming months. I'm not exactly sure when. I don't have the exact timeline, but hopefully in the next season 5, invite you so we are able to help each other out, because we've been through and fighting the same kind of fight, and we've had the army at our door and pointing guns and machine guns at our heads and at our women and children too. And so we have been through the same struggle that that you're going through, and I think we can really help each other out and communicating that way. So hopefully we can get that running, and I can reach out to you.
Thank you, everybody, for today. I'm going to just suggest a couple of immediate actions, and other people, I see Nikki's put something in the box, and others may want to do something similar. I'm going to ask again, if you want to make a donation to Pueblos Unidos, you can do this through the link. I've noticed online that more than $300 US has been donated already. Thank you very much for those of you who have donated. We'll connect perhaps with Pueblos Unidos through Sam, and we'll find out who we can send direct messages to in Mexico through our respective embassies, etc., to draw attention and provide support and object to the way you're being treated, and to provide support to you assert your rights. I just wanted to mention, during the course of this meeting, Skylar Williams, who's a land defender with 6 Nations, and Mayak Manuel, who's a land defender out on the West Coast, have been arrested, even just during the course of this meeting. And particularly with Skylar Williams, I'm putting a link in the box right now where you can get information, where you can make a phone call right to the police station and demand that Skylar be released. And at that Facebook link, you'll find information on what's happened today. In terms of ongoing connections, the Water Watchers holds an annual conference called the People's Water Convention. It's a virtual convention. It'll be October 16th this year. Part of it brought attention to struggles to protect water, and it does have an international dimension. And we're in conversation with people in Turkey and Iran who are opposing Nestle's water bottling there. We expect that there'll be a workshop there. And there is a set of workshops that focus on Indigenous people's water struggles as part of the campaign or part of the convention. So we'll send that information out to you as well. I just want to conclude with thank yous. First of all, Sam, thank you for your terrific job in moderating tonight, and also for all the background liaison work you did to bring us together with Pueblos Unidos. Thank you to Danny Lindemood and Megan Clout, who are off screen in the back room providing all the tech support. Thank you to Pablo and Juan for the live translation you provided today. That was very special. We appreciate it. And finally, thank you to our audience for being here today. Most of you have hung in for the whole period of time. And then last, it's been very special. We appreciate very much Makasha Dawn, and the people of Pueblos Unidos for being here today, for sharing your struggles. We know there's a cost to that labor for you to do that, and we appreciate it very much. We want to act in solidarity. Thank you, Nikki Sequeira, for connecting us, for being a terrific ally, and for connecting us with Dawn so we could be here today. We're going to leave the chat box open for a few minutes. If you have if as a member of the audience, you have last comments you'd like to share, please do that. We're going to show the video one more time as we exit. We will stay in touch, and we will continue to act in solidarity. Water is life. Water is for life, not profit. Indigenous peoples are the first peoples, and we need to act in solidarity with them to support their human rights and to support their land and treaty claims, and to find another way to live together with the earth, with Mother Earth and all her abundant beauty. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go to the video now, and I'm going to say goodbye, and we're going to leave the chat box open so people can close the comments and say goodbye to each other, or provide thanks and gratitude for today's time together. Thank you.